Motel back here with another video. Thank you for joining me. For those that haven't seen my channel before, or if you haven't listened to the Toy Talk Guys podcast, I am a huge Power Rangers fan. Not only Power Rangers, but other shows similar like Masked Rider, VR Troopers, Beetleborgs. I can't help but to collect all that stuff. In this video though, I would like to mainly stay focused on Power Rangers. I'm a lifelong Power Rangers fan. I've been there from the beginning, and incidentally, over the course of my lifetime, I have amassed a large collection of Power Rangers related items. I would like to indulge you with a tour of the behind-the-scenes variety of my current Power Rangers display shelves. Now, 90 to 95% of what I have on display are all loose items. I'm not really an in-box collector. What I do have in-box is pretty much all packed away. Would I display it if I could? Absolutely, but you only have so much room. You need to just work with the space that you got. And with all that said, it's off to the races. So here it is, in all its glory. Now, to any casual that comes in and sees my collection, they probably all think, man, that's a lot of toys, all just sort of randomly up there. But I assure them that there is method to my madness. And for any Power Rangers fan watching, I'm sure you can tell as well. As if we were reading a book, my collection begins at the top left corner. This was pretty much where my Power Rangers toy journey began as a kid. A lot of these figures were from my childhood. As I've said it many times on this channel and on the podcast, I was a huge Power Rangers villains fan. These were just the toys that I gravitated to. I love the Rangers, but the villains were just awesome. So nothing crazy, a lot of the vintage Bandai stuff up here. And then in the back I've got the Super 7 Ultimates figures of Goldar and King Sphinx. I've got what I believe to be the full line of Imaginext villains up front as well. And then we move down to the battle bikes. Technically canon, not really canon. They had like nothing to do with the show at all. They were just in the background. It kind of makes me like them even more, that they're just so obscure. Embarrassingly enough, I am missing the Trini. That should go in there. Still on the hunt for that. Then we move right into my 8-inch Power Rangers collection, along with the little mini PVC figures up front. It's kind of hard to tell, but I've got all the second series of the Lord Zed monsters all hiding in the back. They're all there. Love these 8-inch figures now, obviously, but I remember back in the day I wasn't like so insanely crazy over them. I was definitely more interested in tracking down all the villains at the time, but eventually when the flip heads came out, I began to get a lot more interested in the Ranger toys. You keep moving down, we kind of transition into the Power Rangers movie. We got Ivan Ooze, Talking Lord Zed. Some of those PVC figure dioramas. And then just like the show, we transition out of the movie into the third season of MMPR. Got all 4 of the deluxe villains released, all complete. And what's probably most exciting on this shelf are the Series 3 collectible little PVC figures. As far as I know, they didn't get a release in the States. If they did, it was very small, but from what I understand, it was all released in Europe. And even then, as far as I understand it, they only kind of trickled out into like little mom and pop shops, so they didn't really have a very wide release. So these figures are extremely hard to come by. It's taken me many years to acquire the ones I have. The crown jewel out of these here is obviously the Rito that is still in package. To be honest with you though, I would love to have it out of package, but I would never be able to live with myself if I removed that from the package, just knowing how rare it is. Still on the lookout for a Silent Knight. If there's anybody out there that wants to make a trade, I'd probably offer up one of these Shogun Zords or potentially the Ninja Megazord. Then let's move on to the second shelf. We go from some of what I believe to be the most interesting or exciting part of my collection to a bunch of figures that I would imagine every single Power Rangers fan has. That won't stop me from telling you how much I adore this collection. This was like pinnacle, like peak collecting for me back in the day. I went so hard on collecting all these monster figures. Absolutely love that line. Got a whole bunch of minifigures down here. All these little guys are out of like tombola eggs, I think is what they're called, from Europe. I'm pretty sure they're overseas. A lot of these were pulled out of the micro play sets. Some of these are like vending machine prizes. Then we move down the line to the Season 2 shelf. Got Lord Zed sitting up there. Got him surrounded by his monsters. Then you got Goldar on ground level, commanding a small squadron of putties. I've said it a few times on this channel and probably on the podcast, but I'm not much of a Zord collector. I thought they'd fill the space nicely though, so I've added the White Tiger Zord, which I've had for many years, and the Red Dragon Thunder Zord in Warrior mode. Making our way over to the middle of the display, we've got front and center the Dino Megazord, Hasbro's attempt at the Dino Megazord. I wanted one there, like dead smack in the middle. I'm not too picky about my Dino Megazord. I know the Hasbro release was kind of hum-ho, but I got it super cheap, and it fits there nicely. Then I've got two little risers here, both with the Action Hero series Legacy figures and the movie Action Hero Legacy figures. Also have more PVC figures underneath, the second series with the Rangers Unmorphed, along with the Ninjetti figures from the movie. As you can see, I'm kind of blending the line here again. I've got another little movie section, obviously, sort of blending that with my vintage 5-inch movie figures, as well as the super basic Ninja Megazord that was initially released before we had a combiner. Then yet again, that transitions into Season 3, where I've got Master Vile and all the villains set up back there, as well as a couple of hero figures. Got the full set of Alien Rangers up front. Love the Alien Rangers. Love that little mini-series. Moving down into Zeo territory, we've got a complete run of the action feature Zeo Rangers, along with a bunch of minifigures taken from the micro play sets, as well as figures from that Zeo magazine series I talked about. If you haven't seen that video, go check that out. Then, of course, we've got all the Zeo villains up top. These were some of my favorite run of vintage figures. Love the Zeo monsters. They all look so nice next to each other. They've just all got that like robotic aesthetic. Love it. And then next to it, to fill out the space, I also have a bunch of little 5-inch Zeo Megazords. They're all complete. Warrior Wheel's in there somewhere. Pyramidas is complete, which is cool. That little pyramid on the front's pretty hard to find sometimes. And all the way in the back is the Legacy Zeo Megazord Build-A-Figure. Let's move down to the third shelf. Here is my Turbo section. All of the monsters that were made available are here. They're all complete. I do not have a full run of the Fliphead figures. I think that's something that I will eventually be in the market for. Standouts here, though, are the Divatox figure complete and the Rygog figure complete. Those are getting harder and harder to find in good condition and complete. And of course, I have the little gnome guy from the movie whose name completely escapes me. He's a little squishy dog toy. Pretty uncommon, but I felt it necessary to have in my collection. Then we transition into Power Rangers in Space. As you can see, I've kind of have Elgar pulling double duty there, positioned next to the In-Space Red Ranger. And you'll notice I have a bunch of these Action Hero series figures just sort of scattered in there. Really love the Action Hero series. I've got the Legacy Psychos back there, as well as an Ecliptor. Also have all the villains released in the micro sets as well. Then we transition into Lost Galaxy and Lightspeed Rescue. These are interesting. I don't have any Power Rangers for these seasons, I just have the villains, but it's interesting how they kind of mirror each other, where they released 2 villains apiece, and then in the micro playsets, they also only release 2 villains. It all just like mirrors and it's symmetrical. It's very weird. Then you got Time Force. All the villains here are complete. Got the 2 figures up front from the Command playset. One of my favorite generals up top, Frax. Got him, he's complete. He's getting much harder to find. And here are all the micro figures as well. We move on to Wild Force. There's Master Org. I don't think he has a single point of articulation, if anybody's wondering who doesn't have him. He's just a big old hunk of plastic. I've got all the villains here. That big Jindrex back there, I forget what it's called, but it was from some Rock'em Sock'em Robots type game, but instead of pressing buttons, you're supposed to wear a glove, and this figure's supposed to respond to like your movements. Definitely an oddity that fills up the space nicely. And then we've got more little minifigures down here from the micro play sets. But now we start to get into those deluxe adventure playset figures. those little small PVC figures. So now we start to get into some of those series. Down the line, we've got Ninja Storm. I've got the large Kelzak figure sitting back there. That's got to be one of the biggest villain figures that Power Rangers has ever given us. Then below that is what I believe to be a full run of the villain figures. I believe these are the last of the vintage micro figures. I believe this marks the last time that micro play sets like that were put out. And I don't know if that has anything to do with their rarity now, but these 3 figures are definitely hard to come by nowadays. Especially Chubo, he was a real pain to track down. Then we move on to Dino Thunder. Again, I believe this is close to a full run of villain figures. I definitely have more than enough Zeltrax in my collection. I don't need another Zeltrax. I am missing the red and gold edition, but I've already got too much Zeltrax. Then I've got these little figures. I don't think these are domestic. I'm pretty sure they came from Europe. Definitely came overseas. I don't think they were offered here in the States. I didn't have any Ranger representation for this season, so these are a nice fit. Then we move down the line to SPD. These are some of the seasons that I don't want to outright say I'm going to yada yada through, but I have so much less nostalgia for these next couple of seasons. And personally, I just don't think the villains released in these were all that great. Really wish we would have gotten an Emperor Grum figure, but instead all we kind of got were makeshift Broodwing figures that could turn into Crybots. I did not like this whole gimmick where you could just like make a Crybot into like a blue head. It was not for me. But I have a bunch of different variants. Then I have that nice little set of PVC figures for the Rangers that were released. I think they were like Disney Store exclusives or something like that. Love that set. Even though it's not complete, I still like the figures. Then we move down to Mystic Force. I do have a full run of the villain figures, as well as what I believe to be the other Disney Store exclusive PVC figure set. Is it Disney Store? I could be wrong. I don't remember. The standout piece, though, is the blue variant of the Hideak figure. This did not see a wide release. I'm pretty sure it only got released over in Europe. Could be wrong. I definitely imported this one. Then we move on to Overdrive, Jungle Fury, and RPM. Very sad showing of villain figures for these series. Especially RPM. RPM is like laughable. It's so bad. You got 3 of those Robot General PVC figures. They're not even painted. They're all just translucent. And then you've got the Foot Soldier, the Grinder from that season. Pretty terrible showing for villain figures. Then we move down to the 4th shelf. This section's kind of a catch-all. Needs a lot of work. Definitely under construction. You've got representation of the 2010 re-release of MMPR, along with the 2017 movie, because I don't know where to put that. Just thought I'd lump together a underwhelming movie and a underwhelming season. It's currently a home for these little Jaded Toys diecast figures that got released. Big fan of those. Wish they made more of them. Then we kind of sadly transition into Samurai. Got a full run of villain figures there, I believe. I am lacking that exclusive Mooger variant. Haven't tracked one of those down yet. Not too interested in doing that, but maybe I need to, because this section is horrible. And then that pathetically transitions into the Megaforce section, or lack thereof, because my Megaforce section basically consists of 3 figures. We got the Red Ranger up top here, and then you've got Rock and a Loogie behind him. Poor section, unfortunately. Some of the Mega Bloks figures are there also. Then we move into the Super Megaforce section. Got our Ranger team there, Prince Vicar, as well as one lone sad X-Borg. I always meant to pick more of those up, but they just got way too stupid expensive and rare. Then we have our Dino Charge section. I went pretty nuts collecting this line. Picked up all the villain figures. Got the little mini Zord figures back there. I've got the full range of just regular hero figures. I didn't get suckered into buying those like Dino Drive modes or whatever. Didn't interest me. The crown jewel here's got to be the original Dino Charge Purple Ranger. I'm pretty sure I picked that up in a Kmart. And now it's definitely like one of the harder figures to track down in this line. Move down the line, got a full run of the villain figures, as I said. Love all these monster figures that were released. Dino Charge, they did everything right for Dino Charge. Absolutely killed it. And they kept that momentum going with Ninja Steel. Picked up a full run of the basic Ranger figures as well here, and obviously a full run of the villain figures. The Galvanex figure is an absolute standout in this line. Then we get into the Hasbro area, which I wasn't a huge fan of these figures. Had to pick them up though. It's pretty sad and hard to admit, but I think one of my favorite figures from this time is actually the Evox Snake figure, which this was actually a kids meal toy from Sonic. Never got the Snake version of Evox in the series, so this was a cool way to get him. So we move on from Beast Morphers into Dino Fury. Oh, Dino Fury. These toys were so promising. Loved all the Monster of the Week figures we were getting. And then that eventually led into Cosmic Fury, which I don't have a single thing from Cosmic Fury in this collection, because there wasn't but, 3 things to collect? Don't have any of them. Hopefully that changes in the future and I can get some kind of representation on the shelf. From there, we move down to the 5th shelf, where I have my Lightning Collection figures. This is it. This is all I got from the Lightning Collection. I've got all the Monster of the Weeks. I've got Finster and the Tommy and Putty 2-pack. That's all I got. Did not like this series. I have a video explaining some of my reasoning, so definitely go check that out, why I'd prefer the Playmates toys over Lightning Collection. And then this bottom shelf will be for the Playmates Reignition line once I get more figures. The video will stop there because I want to keep this just Power Rangers. I do have more Saban related items on display, but I will save that for another video. Now, after having shown you all that, I'd love to know, what are your thoughts? What stood out? Do you have an opinion on how I have these things displayed? Did I help you out with any ideas for your own display? I would love to know. Please give this video a like and sound off in the comments. If you stay for the whole thing, I really appreciate it. Please check out the Toy Talk Guys podcast. Just search Toy Talk Guys in your podcast app of choice, or click on one of our links in the video description below. This is Motel, and I will see you in the next one.